we'll get started in just a couple minutes. See some familiar faces. Still have folks coming in. We'll just give it a couple of minutes and we'll jump right in. Got some Riska All-Stars in the room here. Look at this group. This is great. All right, I'm going to give it to 10:02 and then we're going to get started. All right, it's 10:02. Good morning, everybody. It's wonderful to see so many of you. We still have folks popping in the waiting room, so we'll keep letting them in as they come. My name is Sarah Leonard. I'm the Deputy Director at Rhode Island State Council on the Arts. I'm thrilled to have so many of you with us live this morning. This session is also being recorded, so it will be available to all of you afterward if there's anything you want to refer back to, as well as to other applicants who may want to access it along the way. A couple of quick housekeeping items before we get started. If you have questions pop up as we go through the training, if you would either put them in the chat, if it's something that you feel like you can, it's straightforward and simple enough that you can convey it there easily, you can place those questions in the chat, or go ahead and hold them to the end. And we're asking folks to do that so we can get a nice, clean recording of the training. And then we'll stop the recording at the end and have plenty of time for questions. As Anissa just put in the chat, if you would please mute yourselves so that if there's any background noise that won't come through on the recording, that would be wonderful. And then again, during question and answer time at the end, you'll be welcome to unmute yourselves and ask those questions. I'm thrilled that the State of Rhode Island Office of Grants Management is here. Brittany is here and is going to provide you with a fantastic overview of the UNA Grants portal. Many of you are familiar with that from the payment end, and now we get to experience it from the application end. So we've been working hard together to make it as straightforward a process as possible, but we know that new systems are new. So Brittany's going to walk us through that. Her colleague Steve Thompson from the grants office is also here. And my colleagues from RISCA, Anissa Raouf, who directs our arts and health grant programs and is our grants manager. I'm sure you've encountered Anissa on the payment end before. And my colleague Seamus Hames, who's the program director for our education programs at RISCA, is also here. So hopefully among us will be able to answer all of your questions. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Brittany.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. So as Sarah mentioned, we're going to go over the application side of using the Unigrants portal system. So we're going to start with just some general introductory information that'll be applicable if you are awarded. And then we'll go into a demo of how to actually set up a portal account if you don't already have one, and then go into submitting an application. So with that, we'll hop in and I will share my screen. Awesome. If someone can just give me a thumbs up or something that it looks good. Cool. Thank you, Sarah. So again, we are the Grants Management Office, and we work with all the state agencies to help administer their grant programs. So from an applicant side, from a subrecipient side, the Grants Management Office is here to provide you with training and support related to all the technical aspects of using the grants management system. So whether that's issues with logging in, how to submit an application, any issues or questions you have about submitting financial reports, all of those, we can help you on a technological level with support from RISCA related to program specific requirements. This is just a little bit of overview information. We're not going to go into it too deeply, but we wanted it to be here so you can access it later and have the information you need. There are three main types of registrations you will need to have if you are selected for an award. The first one is Ocean State Procures, and this is the state vendor management system. This is a one-time registration for your entity, and that is what allows you to be paid. So for more information on that, we have the link here that will be posted to learn more about Ocean State Procures. If you have already received funds from RISCA in the past, this is something you probably already have because it is a one-time registration. The next is sam.gov, and sam.gov is where you get your UEI, which is your unique entity identifier. And this is that 12-character alphanumeric code that your entity will need for registration to be awarded. There is no cost to get a UEI. There are some scams or scam phone calls, emails that will have you request a fee to get a UEI. So just as a reminder, this is a no-cost registration. If you have questions about that, we have linked the UEI process and sam.gov's links here for more information. And last is the annual organization registration. This is a registration once per calendar year. So it just reopened for this 2026 year. And this is per your entity with entity specific information. Information on this can be found on our website through the Grants Management Office. And if you have questions about this particular registration, you can also submit a ticket request to us and we can help you with those questions. And we'll go over where to submit tickets and ask your questions at the end of the training. So first, we're going to go over how to actually create a portal account. So the portal account is where you're going to apply, accept, and manage your award. Some of you may already have a portal account. Some of you may have one as an individual or one access to an entity. This is a free account you can make. So there's no cost and it is a very quick process. So we're going to go in and create a portal account before we move into actually submitting an application. So with that, we'll switch over and we will go to the main portal account page. And Steve can put this link in the chat. It's just the portal main page. And I would definitely suggest that everyone bookmark this. Are you able to see my screen? Okay. It just kicked me out. So I just wanted to make sure. How about now? Amazing. I'm more of a Teams than a Zoom person, so forgive me. Um, so again, I highly suggest you bookmark this link because this will be the link you use to log in to again apply, manage your grant. So if you don't already have an account, what we can do here is go to the create an account button, and it's going to ask you just for your name and email and for you to choose a password. So I'm just going to enter basic information. And you can see here the password will tell you when it's an acceptable password. So it wants you to have different characters, a certain amount of letters or numbers in the password. So you can see here if we start typing, as you start to type, it'll get weaker. And as you enter more characters, it wants you to get to the strong section for your password. So just make sure that it has to be a certain character length, certain number of special characters. So just get to where you can at least get to strong. And you can click the sign up button. And once you click the sign up button, you will get an automated email to the email you suggested here to verify your account. You have to verify your account before you can access the portal. So here is a picture of what the email is going to look like. highly suggest if you don't see it come up in your email within 30 minutes, you can use the search feature on your email and you can search for the word verify, search for the word portal, and that will usually help you filter if it accidentally went into your spam or your junk folder. And then once you get that email, there'll be a button that you can click that says confirm my account. And once you click on that, it'll verify that your account has been confirmed and you'll be able to log in.
Brittany, we're not
So,
seeing the email. Are we supposed to be
yes, I don't know
seeing
why
that?
it's not sharing the screen as opposed to what I want it to share. How about now?
There we go. Yep.
Amazing. So this is what the email will look like. Again, you can see if you search the word verify is usually the easiest way to get it to come up, or you can search portal if you're not immediately seeing it in your inbox. Sometimes, depending on your email settings, it may get sent to the spam or junk folder. If you are continuing not to see this and you're continuing not to find it after 24 hours, you can submit a support ticket to us and we can assist. But again, most likely it's in your spam or junk folder. So after that, you have clicked on the link. You are now a full portal user and you'll be able to log into your portal account. So I am going to reshare my screen. And at this point, we are back on the same exact portal website, but now we have an account. So instead of clicking the create an account button, we're going to enter our email here that we used when we just created an account. You're going to click next, and then it's going to ask you for your password. If for some reason you ever forget your password, you can click the forget password button and it'll ask you for your email and it'll send you a password reset option. Once you enter your password here, you want to click the portal login option. If you click Grants Network login, it is not going to work. So make sure you click portal login. You can see here I entered the wrong password. And it'll bring you to your main portal page. So you can see here, there are different sections of the portal. We have the My Applications. So this will be any application that you have initiated. So things that haven't been awarded yet. You have your awards. So this will be things that you are actually awarded, grants that were awarded to you by RISCA, and this will be current grants and past grants. You can see here some of them are listed as awarded, some of them are closed. So this will show you your whole history of your past awards. But right now we're going to focus on my applications. So if you do have any applications that are currently initiated, you'll see those here. You'll see any applications that were rejected or are in process. So this is where you're going to go to actually manage your application. If you haven't already initiated your application, you're going to want to start on the RISCA webpage. So we want to go to the RISCA webpage and we are going to search for the grant that we want to apply for. So for this demonstration, we're going to use the PGO program as a demo. So I'm going to go to grants, I'm going to go our grants, and RISCA has a very nice website that goes over all of their current grant offerings with all of the details about the program requirements, how to apply. So like we said, we're going to go through and we're going to look for the one we want to apply for, which is this projects grants for organizations. We're going to click on that. And you can see here all of this initial introductory information. It tells you the award amount. It can tells you who could apply. It lets you know the timeline and all of the eligibility requirements there. It also has a specific section for how to apply and application. So we're going to open that. And you can see here, there's a direct link that will show you how to initiate this in Portal. It also has general application information and contact information if you have questions about the program requirements. So I'm going to click on this first link here. and it's going to bring you to the solicitation. So the solicitation is giving you an overview of the requirements for the program. So this is all stuff RISCA has added to the solicitation for you to review before initiating your application. You can check on all of the other information they also have posted on their website, as well as any other files or financial or contact information they have. But for now, what we're going to do is click the apply button. Clicking the apply button is how you initiate the application and how it becomes an option in your applications tab in the portal. So if you don't click this apply button and you just go to your portal account expecting the application to show up there, it will only show up there if you click this apply button. So I'm going to click apply. And since I'm already logged into portal, it's going to take me directly to start my application. If you were not already logged into portal, it'll just ask you to log in before bringing you to this page. So sometimes it's easier to log in first, so it'll bring you right to this page where you can start your application. So you can see here, I don't have any applications for this program yet because I haven't actually submitted or started anything. So I'm going to click Create New Application. Wait for it to load. And it'll bring you to the next page. And you can see here, this is your initial application. This project title just has a temporary code right here because you get to pick your project title, but seeing as you haven't picked it yet, there's just a placeholder there. But once you enter your information, this will auto-populate with the project title that you choose. You can see right now it's in draft, and it'll show who's the submitter, so that's your account right here. So I'm going to click on this project title hyperlink, and it'll bring me to the overview of the program. So the first thing we always suggest for folks to do when they initiate an application is to add other team members. So with the new application functionality, you're able to add other people to your project team to be able to contribute to the application. So if you have other members of your team who may be more equipped or may have specific parts of the application they need to fill out, you can add them to your project team so they can fill those out. So you can have individual portal accounts, but you can all contribute to the same application. So I'm going to just do a quick example. You can click Add Team Member, and all you need to do is enter the person's email. This person has to have a portal account to be able to access this. So make sure they have a portal account set up. You can enter their email, and you can click Send. I'll do a quick demo of what that email will look like. You can see here, the invitation has been sent. So right now we're waiting for that person to accept the invitation. I will pull up a quick example of what that should look like. Are you able to see the email? It's only showing one thing at a time. That's fine. I'll just reshare it. Great. So the person you invited will get an email that looks like this. So it lets you know that this person has invited you to join the team for this program. You still haven't chosen a project name, but if they click on this link right here, they will then be able to accept the actual invitation. So we'll go through and do that. So if you are the one accepting the invitation, you would log into your portal account. Wrong one. I have so many different test accounts that I can't remember which one is which. But you would log in to this portal account, and then you would immediately gain access to the application and be able to see it in your own My Applications tab in Portal. So again, highly recommend that folks add team members as soon as they initiate that application, just in case anyone maybe is out of the office or needs to contribute different parts of the application. That way, more than one person has access in case something happens. So that way you're not delayed in your application trying to get back access to content you may have already started. So once you've added people to your team members, again, you can manage your team members in the team members section. If someone thinks they didn't get the email, you can resend the email here. If the email was sent on accident, you can delete that here, and you'll be able to see a list of everyone who is on your team. And you can add as many team members as you need. Once you've added your team members, the next thing we want to do is go down to the next tab, and this is the submission stage of the application. So you can see here, there will be some general information that the agency may have left regarding the content of the application. But what we want to focus on here is these three forms. So these three forms here, the core information, the PGO, and the State of Rhode Island standard form, is where you're going to actually have to enter content for the application. So I'm going to click on this first form of core information. You can see right now everything is not clickable. That's because you have to click the edit button. So I'm going to click the edit button, and you can see now I'm able to enter information into these fields. So the first thing it's going to ask you is that project title. So this will be the project title for the project you're applying for this program. So I'm just going to say test project ABC 2026. Very creative. And then it's going to ask the name of your organization. I'm also going to be very creative. Nonprofit 123. It's going to ask your unique entity identifier, which again, we said is something you need to have once you're awarded. And it says here, you can see RISCA has added specific help text to these fields if they have other information they want you to know. So right here, it says you will be required to have a UI before grants are awarded and to contact Sarah for instructions if you do not yet have a UEI. So if you're an entity who does not yet have any UEI, you would contact Sarah for instruction. If you do have a UEI, you would enter that here. You can see here a UEI is a 12-digit alphanumeric code. So it's going to ask you to enter 12 digits. So I'm going to enter this, and you can see I got my 12 out of 12. Again, you can see some of these questions have a red asterisk, and that means they're required. Some of the questions do not have a red asterisk, so they're not required. So if I don't have an answer to a question that is required, you are able to skip that and you'll still be able to move forward. But if you do have information to add into that field, please do enter it as fully as possible. Next, we're going to go down to this information here. It's asking for organizational address, your city, your zip code. You can see this isn't required for this section, so that is optional. But I'm going to go down to the next section where I have required information. It's going to ask who your authorized representatives are for your organization. So I'm going to enter some test information here. So this is whoever is authorized from your entity to submit an application. So I'm going to enter at least what is required with the red asterisk. This is asking who is the business finance representative from your organization. And then again, enter their information. It's going to ask for project representatives. And we're going to continue to enter at least the bare minimum. And other team members of the organization. So I'm going to continue to scroll down, and you can see now I've reached the bottom of the form. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top and you'll see there are three options. Saving as draft means you want to save your progress, but you're not ready to submit this individual form. So I'm going to save as draft for now. And you can see here, my core information form has updated to draft, and it shows that my application as a whole is now in progress because I have made a save. Up until now, if I had exited out of this page, my content would have been lost because I did not save anything. But right now, I'm in progress and this form is a draft. To complete a form, you need to actually save it as complete. So I'm going to go back and edit, and you can see here there's a save as complete. So by the end of your application, every one of these forms, 1, 2, 3, need to be saved as complete to be able to submit your application package as a whole. So I feel confident that my core information form looks good. So I'm going to save as complete. And you can see that now my form has turned green and shown as complete. You still have the option to go back and edit if you need to and make updates because your application has not been fully submitted. So you can still make updates to individual forms if needed. Now that my core information form looks good, I'm going to move on to the PGO program specific questions. So I'm going to click on this second form. I'm going to read the instructions from RISCA on how to fill out this form or any other information they want to give you. And I'm going to remember to click the edit button before I start, because if I don't, I will not be able to enter anything into the fields. So I'm going to click edit and I'm going to scroll down, continue to read the instructions that RISCA has provided, and then begin filling out the application content. So you can see here, first is a multiple choice question. So it's going to ask if you're a nonprofit, select the answer that applies to you. It's going to ask you additional questions about the program. Again, answer these applicable to your entity. You can see here, this is a non-required question because it is dependent on how you answer the question before it. So just make sure you're entering information that is applicable. Again, another non-required question because it's not applicable to all applicants. We're going to move down to the next required question. It's going to ask eligibility, and I'm going to select the options that are applicable to me. Another set of instructions for the next section of the application form. I'm going to make my selection. Again, even if a question isn't required, if is it applicable to you, you should fill out a response. Again, I'm going to continue answering questions applicable to me. And then we have our first file upload. So you can see here, it's asking for a specific type of file and it's required. So I'm going to click the add file option and you can choose something right off of your computer. You can use a download, something you've already saved. So I'm going to upload this test document. And you can see here, now you have proof that this has been uploaded. If you uploaded the wrong thing, you can click the little red X and it'll let you choose a different document to upload. And again, make sure you're reading these help text indicators at the bottom of the questions, because this will give you more context of how to answer the question or more information about the question that RISCA has provided. Again, I'm going to read the next set of instructions, and we have another required file upload. So I'm going to read the instructions and review what type of file needs to be uploaded. And I'm going to add that for my computer. And you can see here, now we have proof that the file has been uploaded. Going to continue on down. This is a text field. So it's going to ask for your organization DBA legal name. So I'm going to enter my organization's full name. And it's going to ask for the mission statement. And you can see here, there is a character limit for some of these. So you want to make sure that you're following that character limit. And if you don't follow the character limit, when you try to save the form, it'll provide a error message to let you know you need to make a change. So we will also provide an example of what that error message looked like. So I am going to enter something here in the field so we can move forward. And it'll tell you right here how many characters you've used already, so you can keep track. You're also able to copy and paste into this field if you need to. Just keep in mind, if it is over the 500, it will error out when you try to save. So just make sure you're looking at this word count right here. So you're under the limit. It's going to ask for the project name. You've already provided a project name in that core information form, but this is the project name that RISCA is going to use once or if you're awarded the grant. So make sure you're following their instructions for what type of restrictions are on the project name. So I'm going to write following their instructions, 2 to 5 words of the proposed project title. Again, following the instructions of RISCA. You're going to enter your project summary. You can see here, there's another character limit of 500. So make sure that whatever project summary you're either typing into the field or copy and pasting from somewhere else fits the character limit. It's going to ask you the amount that you're requesting. It tells you the restrictions on the total amount you can request. And it's asking for numbers only and to round to the nearest dollar amount. So I'm going to enter 1,000 here. For test purposes, I'm going to change this to try to enter this as non-number fields. And you can see here, no matter what I click, I'm clicking a bunch of numbers, letters. It's only going to let you enter numerical values. So all you have to do is a simple number and it'll auto check that for you. Next is going to ask you project start and end date. So you can see here, this is very specific that they want a specific format for the dates here. So I'm going to enter, let's say this is going to start next month and it's going to end maybe, let's say in September. And it's going to auto populate the total number of days within that. You can also use this calendar option if you want to click a specific day on the calendar. It will auto populate for you that as well and change the day here. Again, read the instructions provided by RISCA and enter the appropriate response. This character limit is 250, so make sure you're following that. Continue to select the options that are applicable to your application. And remember to read these help text information at the bottom if you need further examples or further clarification. It's going to have another here. Oops, I jumped up too far. Another unrequired question, but if you checked other population or community to provide specific examples of what you mean, add more information on your particular request, and continue down answering the questions as they come up and reading the instructions. Here is an example of a document upload where they have provided you with a template they want you to use. So in this example, we would download this template by clicking the hyperlink. You would fill that out. You would save it however you want to save it on your computer. Fill that out, save it, and then re-upload it with this document here. So you want to download first, fill it out, save it on your computer, and then upload that file you just saved. Again, we'll continue to use the test document as an example. So you should have the project plan downloaded and then the project plan re-uploaded once you fill it out. Again, continue down the application, filling out what questions are applicable to you. Read the instructions related to the budget. Again, here's another example of when you need to download a template. fill it out, and then re-upload it here. And you can see a red asterisk showing that it's required. Continue to fill out all of the required information. Another file upload. Again, here are some questions that aren't required, but if you do have the applicable response to these, they should be filled out. Another set of instructions and another example of something to download and then something to re-upload. Another set of instructions with a request to copy and paste a link.
How you doing? Good, boss. What's going on,
And
man?
we're near the end right now. And I'm going to do my last file upload. And at this point, all of the questions have been answered, but you might be in a position where, again, you don't want to submit it just yet. So we can save as a draft for now. And you can see here, there is a one error in our form. So if you click on the hyperlink for this, it'll take you right to the error that has occurred. And you'll be able to see what the actual error is. So I know the error is this link to the Google Drive. So you can see here, I just typed in letters here, but it's asking for an actual link. And it's going to give you an error if you don't enter an actual link. So I am just going to use the link for the RISC website. I'm going to try to put that in. And I'm going to go back up and I'm going to try to save again. And you can see now I've saved my form successfully and there is no errors. So that is in draft. Again, if you want to switch it from draft to completed, you would click on the form, you would click edit, and then you would save as complete. And you can see here, once we try to save as complete, it'll auto check your form to make sure there's no other errors. And it'll see that we have some errors because we missed some required fields. So you can see here, it'll take you right to the field. And I believe the issue with this one is the actual asterisk and some of the non-letter text in this one. So sometimes the form can be a little bit finicky. So you want to make sure that you're double checking that. And I want to double check what my other error was. You can always just click save again, and it'll double check the form to make sure there's no errors. And I did correct that error. So now you can see this form is also complete and would be ready to submit. I'm now going to move on to my last form, which is the State of Rhode Island Standard Application Form. So this is a form that all entities need to fill out no matter what program they're applying to. So this isn't particular to RISCA's program or this PGO program. This is specific to the state of Rhode Island. So if you have questions on this particular form, it says in the instructions here where to fill out a user support form for questions, because this form is created by the Grants Management Office. So if you have questions about the content or how to fill it out, you would follow the instructions here and submit a support form. But just like all the other forms, we need to edit and we need to go through the process and enter all of the information. So we're going to go through that and make sure all of the required fields are entered. And again, this is about your entity information. It has nothing to do with the PGO program in this specific example. So this is another good example where some of the information in here might be answered by different members of your organization. So this is why it's important to share with other team members, because they would be able to maybe fill out some parts of this application that you might not be able to fill out. Specifically to, there's some fiscal related questions that maybe a fiscal member of your team may be better equipped to answer. And again, if you have questions on any of the fields in this form, you would submit those to the grants management office and we can answer those for you. It's going to ask you to fill out a certification that you're allowed to use the grants management system and submit an application. You can enter a signature here using your mouse. It's also going to ask you if you are an authorized representative for your entity to be able to complete this form. So if you click yes, you would provide a signature. If you click no, it's going to ask you to download this and have someone from your entity sign that you are allowed to submit on behalf of your agency or your entity and then re-upload it here. So if you are authorized representative, as explained in these instructions, you can click yes, and you'll be asked to provide a signature. If no, you'll be asked to provide a file upload. So for this example, I'm going to click yes, and I can provide a signature here, or I can click no, and I can add a file. And you can see here my test file is there, but we want to download and sign this example form. With that, I'm at the end of this form. So I want to scroll back up. And again, I can save as draft, or if I feel confident, I can save as complete. So I'm going to click Save as Complete. And you can see now all 3 forms are completed and this Submit Application button has appeared. The Submit Application button will only appear once all 3 of these forms are completed and green. You will also see a Goals tab here. Goals are not part of this particular program. So if you were to click the goals, you would see there are no goals specified. So I don't have to do anything with goals. So I'm going to leave that blank. You can see here there's no requirement for goals. You can go back into any of these forms, continue to edit if you want to make changes. But if you're feeling confident about the submission and all of the forms, you can go ahead and click the Submit Application button. Once you click this button, you're not going to be able to go back and make changes. So make sure you've checked all of the 3 forms, made sure all the information is correct. But once you're confident, you can click Submit Application. And you'll see this side panel is updated. And instead of in progress, we're now seeing submitted. So you can confirm that your application has been submitted by checking that all of this section is green and we're seeing submitted here. And the Submit Application button is now grayed out because you've already submitted your application. If I were to go back to the My Applications tab here, I could click that and I'd be able to search for any application I've previously filled out. So I'm going to search for my PGO application. And you can see here, we have in progress because it's been submitted and it's now going to be reviewed by Briska. I can click into this. I can see the project title I selected. And I could go back and review the actual content that I submitted. So I can click into my actual application and I can go back. I can still add team members if I want. So if I want to add team members to just be able to view what was submitted, you can click and add more team members. And I can go back in and see the information I submitted. I can also export to PDF each individual form that I filled out. So if you want to save this form or share it with someone else at your entity or keep it for internal files, you can export any one of these forms to save for the future. And you can always go back to the My Applications tab to review all of the applications that you've submitted. So again, you want to make sure that you have this submitted green icon here to prove that it's been submitted. Or on your My Applications tab, we have that in progress option showing that your application has been submitted and is now in progress with Riska to be reviewed. with that, that is the end of the formal demonstration of how to submit an application. I'm going to go over just a few quick resources and other things that we have available. So on our website, RISCA has a lot of information on their website. The Grants Management Office also has information on the website in terms of user support. So we'll put this link in the chat. But we have a special section right here for resources for applicants and subrecipients. So if you're to click on that, there's this resources and user guide section. And you can see here, we have information about how to set up your portal account. So this guide right here goes over what we went over about creating your portal account and verifying your email. Right here, we have a section for applicants. So this is going to show you a user guide with screenshots of how to submit an application, which is what we just did, which is going to be your main physical user guide source for this part of the process of applying. And then later on, if you are selected for an award, we have user guides available for how to accept an award and how to do all of the functionality post-award, like submitting financial reports and any other requirements that RISCA has in the system. So highly recommend that this is a web page that you bookmark. We also have available the user support form, which I mentioned a few times. So if you run into any issues or questions at any point regarding to the technical aspect of the grants management system of your portal account, you would come to the user support section and you would answer the questions provided here with what your question or issue is, and someone from the grants management office would get back to you and help you with the technical aspect of your question. But again, if you have program specific questions or you're not sure how to answer a specific question in the application, that content related information should go to RISCA. We're only here to help with any technical questions. And there might be sometimes us at GMO and RISCA work together to help with your question because maybe it's a little bit of both. But just in general, program content questions go to RISCA and technological questions can come to this user support form. With that, I will stop sharing my screen and I will check in with Sarah and see if we want to open it up to questions or if there's any other disclaimers or info you want to share with folks before we get into that.
Yeah, thank you, Brittany. That was great. I think we can go ahead and stop the recording at this point. All right. Oh, still going.